What does Torah say about women? So, any issues? Okay, loaded why? What do you not like about what the Torah says about women? Yes. Why can't women sing when guys are around? I already put it down, so I don't even have to record it. Why are women underrepresented in Torah and men are they're taking up all the verses? So how come men can be with more than one woman and a woman cannot be with more than one man? Why does polygamy go only one way? Why is Judaism passed through the mother? Why is modesty so much stricter for women? Why do we have to cover our hair? Okay, why is a woman's worth more if she is a virgin? Anything else? So why can't women have the physical comfort of their husbands when they're menstruating? Why do women give a sin offering after birth? Why impure after birth, and also why double the length after birthing a baby girl? Why, when a Jewish couple wants to get divorced, why is it in the hands of the guy? He can give her a divorce. She can't do anything to get divorced. She can't give him a get. Good. Wow, you heard one part of a very bad story. Okay. Can we just settle this one real quickly?
Yeah.
The backlash that the entire tribe got for their behavior was the worst thing that ever happened, like, to a tribe in history. They were killed by the other tribes. The ones who were not killed because they saw, oh my gosh, we're going to lose this tribe, were how do you say it? Put in cherem, like they were excommunicated from all the other tribes to the point that they weren't finding any more, like they weren't able to reproduce. And then they had to, like, the entire people of Israel had to institute like a new tradition in order for them to be able to get married again. So there was extreme backlash. I don't know who told you that story. I'll show you the source, you'll read it, and you'll see that it was treated with extreme severity. Like, good luck finding anybody treating a rapist as badly as harshly. Who? So he didn't do it, he didn't rape her, was he from the tribe of Benjamin?
It doesn't matter.
So I'll look up the story again, but if they treated the rapists that badly and their entire tribe that badly, I have a hard time believing that we're not missing a detail with how he was treated. Yeah. Okay, we could look up that story, but it was definitely not a story that went ignored, but that's a good question, yeah. Okay, I'll write down. Happened to the, Pelegish Begiva, about the tribe of Benjamin. So let's ask what happened to her lover, I guess. I don't know how what's the other side of a Pelegish? To the man who she was his Pelegish. Good, thank you. Any other questions? Yes. Do you want to know why women generally are not rabbis in Orthodox congregations?
Yes.
Okay, I want to read you a little piece of Torah that came up in today's reading. So actually, those chayenus back there, do you want to put one on each table if there are? Yeah, the blue ones. The blue ones. Yeah. I think some people already have. Yeah, some tables already have, but you want to pass those out a little bit? I want you to read that and tell me if you have any questions on it.
Want to give us a page?
Yeah, it's today's Torah portion. So Matos Maseh, the first Torah portion. And if you open that up, then please do tell us the page.
What, today's Chumash?
Yes, today's Torah, Chumash Torah portion. Okay, the general gist of it is, if a man makes a vow and he says, I promise that for the next 7 weeks I will not touch any grape products, he must keep that vow. If a woman says, I promise that for the next 8 weeks I will not eat any grape products, if she's still living in her father's household, the beginning, right? The first one is if before she's married, right? When she's living. Oh, great, great. So if she is in her father's household, whether or not she's living on his property, right? So if she's part of her father's household, whether or not she's living in his house, if he hears her and he says, no, 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 that's not, you don't make that, that vow is not valid, then she does not have to keep it. If later she gets married and her husband hears her saying a vow and he says, no, 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 that's not a vow, like I'm invalidating it, then she does not have to keep it. Any thoughts on that? I got thoughts. What are we? You didn't even say what are we. You said women are men's property, right? Like, oh, when she's in her father. That's what you're saying. Okay, good. We're hearing you. There's evidence. Okay, so seeing evidence that women are men's property. Okay. And the proof, the evidence that she brings is that if a man hears a woman making a vow and he disqualifies it, then she's not obligated to make the vow. From that, she's drawing the conclusion that a woman is a man's property at that time.
I'm not saying just about the vow, I'm saying it.
Bring me other evidence, it's fine. Control. Okay, so you guys hear, all this is interpreted in our eyes in 2026, the lens we're looking at it as control. He controls her behaviors or he controls her vows. Okay, we're starting with a very good question. Why would Torah lay that out? Why would he have power to break her vows from a logical perspective? Excellent. We're starting in a good place, but before we go there, I will give another piece of evidence, if you want, that people use as evidence that women are the property of their owners, their husbands or their fathers, okay? If a man rapes a woman, do you know what the consequence is? Nothing. 50 shekel. So there's what's written in the Torah, and then there's what the actual laws are. Why? Because Torah is has the seeds of the laws, but then the actual laws were given to us orally, were written down in the Rambam, then in Talmud, Mishnah, Shulchan Aruch. So the actual details of all the laws are written later in history. The written Torah is not where we have the laws, but we have the seed for the laws. Like we have a piece of Torah that actually encapsulates something about the law. What is the law if a man rapes a woman? He has to pay 50 shekel to
The father.
I'm counting on you here. No, to her father.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah, why not, right? Okay, it's a piece of evidence for your background. Oh, so tell everyone else. No, okay, all right. So that's a piece of evidence in Brandy's mind and in many, many women's minds that means that her father owns her. If for her rape, a guy gives money to her father, that means that the father owns her. And then the guy kind of used her, and then the money shows that she was owned, she's owned by her father and used by this other man. Okay? And that's very, very common for all of us to think. So interestingly, if you want to know what the actual punishments are, it is true that if a man is pursuing a woman to rape her, and somebody's watching that, and he can stop the guy, he has to stop the guy in any way he can, including if it would take killing him. So the Torah treats rape like murder in the way that the rapist, like a murderer, needs to be stopped even if it means killing him. No, for sure, yeah. Any woman. Yeah, she should try to stop him, meaning we all have the obligation not to stand by while a fellow is being pursued to be killed, and that includes to be raped. Same. If a man is pursuing another man to rape him, too, you have to...
Woman.
If a woman's pursuing a man to rape the man, So I'm not saying that, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that doesn't, like, molestation doesn't happen and tremendous damage doesn't happen, but I don't think that it is rape. Like, a woman doesn't take a part of her body and penetrate the guy. Yeah. Okay, so that's another good question. What's, yeah. Okay. Correct. Yeah, so you're asking what the, okay. So taking these pieces of evidence that we have, number one, yes? You know what? Come back up because we have more questions. Let's actually write them down so that we can give these proper justice. So one is, what happens if a woman is pursuing a man to rape him? She has to. What was the other question that came up? There was something else, another question that just came up here that we wanted to write down. No, if he's coming to rape her and she wants to stop him, she can kill him in order to stop him, yes. After it's done, there's a different law of what the punishment is. And we'll revisit that, yes. It's related here, but it's not. It doesn't further this particular part of the discussion. It's a halakha. Yes, it is related here. Thank you. Okay, so let's take these three parts, 3 data points, and then we'll continue with more. Prison.
Yeah.
Fascinating fun fact, in Judaism, prison is not one of the punishments. There is corporal punishment, death, 4 kinds of death, lashes, whipping people, and so physical pain and humiliation, and fines, monetary fines. Oh, okay. So there's either by hanging, decapitation, stoning, or burning. Hanging is choking? Yes,
yeah,
correct.
even worse.
And not stoning by everyone throwing stones. And then having a big stone thrown. Okay. The person gets even more than that. The person is actually given a tonic that sedates them before they're killed. If you guys want to find out more about punishments in Torah, we could totally do that as another Jewish idea. It's a fascinating idea, why we don't have prison. We will. Another big idea is why does Torah choose these particular punishments? Okay. Correct. So we'll revisit the entire issue of corporate punishment. But now let's go here. Let's do this women. So I know what he owes her, but I did not review which other punishments. I'll look it up. That's why we're writing down these questions, to make sure nothing gets left out. Okay. And why is it all about money? Let's discuss. That's part of it. He owes her money. He owes her father money. Hello, because she's property officially, apparently. Based on what we're thinking, right? Okay. So let's talk about women being let's talk about women being treated as property of men. Should we attack that one first? Okay, fine. Good. All right.
Wait, where does it say we are property?
I know, I didn't see that either, but the reason why people feel that way, like the evidence people gather, is that money is exchanged when, for example, when a woman is raped, so the rapist gives her father money. So it's like, what is she, an object? Like that her father owns her and she just got used? We can also write that down as evidence. That's good. Okay. Speaking of women being property, I just want to strengthen your argument one more time, okay? Are you guys familiar with the idea that if a person wants to, when the temple is standing, if a person wanted to bring up an offering to the temple, if it was a kosher animal, they would bring it. If it was a field, then they could bring a monetary value that corresponds to the value of the field. And if they want to bring themselves as an offering, then they bring monetary value of themselves.
What do you mean, like they're Jewelry and stuff? Wait, what do you mean?
Oh, so when the Holy Temple was standing in Jerusalem, there were different gifts, different offerings that people could bring.
Like the self one. What?
Right, so the self, if a person they're like, I want to dedicate my whole self. Right? If a person wants to dedicate his animal, he just takes his animal, he brings it, and he offers it up. It goes on the altar. If a person wants to bring himself up, he cannot go onto the altar and be burned. Like, that's not how God accepts you, but you can bring your monetary value, and the Torah records how much value each person's supposed to bring. Monetary, money?
Like as
Monetary value. So listen to this and take some notes. Write this down, okay? The Eternal spoke to Moshe, saying, speak to the children of Israel and say to them, when a man expresses a vow, pledging the value of his life to the Eternal, the value for a man should be as follows, okay? Start your chart. There's going to be a value for men, value for women at different ages. Yes, man is worth a certain amount of money at this age, certain amount of money at that age, right? Man equals is even simpler. Man equals. Oh, it's all the spoilers at this table. It's okay. Okay, the male is worth as follows. From 20 to 60 years old, so you could just write adult male. Adult male, how much money does he bring if he wants to give his whole value? Good.
really?
Yes. 50 silver shekel. Good. A woman, so I guess it's worth the value of a man. A woman at the same age, adult woman, 20 to 60, how many? 1,000 shekel? No. You guys are getting there. Between 25 and 35, what? 30, okay? Woman gives 30. Her value, her worth that she can contribute is 30. A child, male child is a youth from age 5 to 20. Okay, so youth from the age of 5 to 20. A male is 20 shekel. Anyone have a guess for how much the woman is worth? 10. Good. I have no idea. How about a baby, a child from 1 month to 5 years old? A male is 5 silver shekel and a woman is a little baby? That would be appropriate, right? Because what are we anyway? But 3 shekel. 3 shekel. A male is 5 and a female is 3. Give your baby, give the value of. You want to contribute. If you love God, you want to give God gifts, yeah. And if a person is 6 years old or over, this is the final one. Old man, old woman, a man who's lived many years, a woman who's lived many years. So a man who's lived over 60 years is worth 15 shekel, while a female is 10. So notice what just happened. A man just dropped in value, like, whoo, from 50 to 15 shekel. At the age of 60, he drops to 15 shekel. The woman drops to 10 shekels, from 30 to 10. Drops a little less. Isn't that weird? Okay. Okay. Huh? 60. Yes. The man... Oh, and if you want, you could look at this handy-dandy chart for a moment. Okay. So the first thing we'll tackle is women being viewed as property. And the evidence that we get from that is because men handle all the money. L'chaim. Okay. Could we say that that's the bottom line? That the reason we are under the assumption that women are viewed as property is because men handle all the money? Like they get the money, they give the money, they pay the money. For her, like. Okay, let him do things. But you're adding. Just give me the facts, right? Give me the facts. That a man has control over. A man can tell a woman like, you need to read 5 poems today. Like he has control over her life. I'm saying like, what are the facts? The facts are there's some money things. What else does he control? Oh, good. So you got that. There's something spiritual, right, that he can do, which is he can stop her vows. Is there any other example of something that he can, because that's something in the Torah. I don't know of anything else in the Torah. Does anyone else have? And that is very important, meaning it's also important that there are many other societies in the world, and then there's the Jewish society, so we're going to talk about how that contrasts. Yes? Hand? No? Okay. All right, so men are in charge of the money and men stop women from making vows. How do we make sense of that without coming to the conclusion that women are the property of men? Okay, we're going to take a little journey to the beginning of all time. Why did God create the world?
Place?
I mean, things were so peaceful, honestly. Like there was no war, there was no hunger, there was no starvation, there were no Holocaust, there was no people, there were no periods. What? There was nothing. There was just God. Like, why would he disturb that? What did he want? Okay? So God makes this whole world because he has one purpose. One. He wants a home in this world, which means a relationship with us. He wants a relationship with that. What's a home? Say that aloud for the girls in the front. What? Say that again. God was alone and God is alone, and what is God's desire? Yes, a best friend with free choice. A soulmate. Now, even though we're making a lot of jokes about it, I do want to ask you guys something, okay? When you ask, how come I need to do all this stuff for God, but God does nothing for me? Okay? When you say does nothing for me, what do you mean by that? Because logically you know that he kind of actually created everything for you, right? Logically you know that. At the same time, not invalidating your question. I'm saying zone into what your actual question is, okay? He demands a lot, and he does everything for us, literally everything, right? He gave us life, and he gives us everything. There's no effort. That's very good. It's a good question to have. The Alter Rebbe discusses what great lengths and what pain and sacrifice God needs to make this world. Yes, that's a good question. So, yes.
No matter what.
So we can go into that at a different time because it's a very important question. And it is very important. It's an entire 2 or 3 chapters of Tanya spend on that. But the thing is that if we say like, okay, so he gave me food, he gave me clothing, he gave me shelter, he gave me life, he gave me my health, but who cares? Like, what is it worth if the whole thing is just for me to do something for him? Like, if you're not in love with God, right? Imagine this random man on the street gives you all this stuff and then like demands that you spend time with him, right? You'd be like, excuse me? Like, why are you making a demand of me, right? And he's like, what do you mean? I literally gave you everything. I gave you a Lamborghini. I gave you this tremendous house. I gave you this whole closet full of designer clothing. I gave you all this jewelry. And you're like, so what? Did I ask you to? Like, right? What's the only thing that would make that worth it? What's the only reason you'd want to spend time with him? To get more. Good, bingo. Okay, what's the only reason you'd, no. All the money in the world would not make you want to spend time with a creepy person who you don't like. Is that not correct? But that's hysterical. That was very funny.
Maybe the personality will
What's the only reason you'd want to spend time with him? Anyone? What's the only reason you'd want to spend time with a man? If you, what? If you love him. We're not, forget that for a second, right? If you love someone, then you want to spend time with them. That's the only reason you'd want, hopefully that's the only reason you'd want to spend time with somebody. If they're actually important in your life. And not just important, but hopefully that you love them. So it makes sense when we ask that question of like, why is God giving me, why does God demand so much of me and gives me nothing in return? It does make sense when we ask that question when we don't feel love for God. So I'm just saying, like, that question makes sense. So, okay, so now going back to the plot, God creates the world because he wants a relationship with us. He did. He did, and this is the way he chose. He could literally, you're right, he could do anything in any way, and this is what he chose, which is this is what he wants. Oh, and he did. Guys, did you hear that? We got to this really quickly. Yes. Meaning, God needed to make someone else to love him, but someone who's exactly like him, or else it's not an even playing field. What is the unique identifying fact about God? That he's the only one who's independent, who creates himself. Like nobody created him. He's the center of the universe, right? Mm-hmm. So he had to create people who feel like the center of the universe in order to love him. Okay, but we're getting a little bit sidetracked. So smart. We're getting a little sidetracked. So what happens here in this world? What does he want? Yeah. God, in order to have a relationship with another, needs to create another that is like him, that is the center of their own universe. So if you're self-centered, that's an excellent place to start. Meaning that's the beginning, that's how he made you. In his image. Okay. So So if God wants a relationship with us, what's the absolutely most important thing in this entire universe? I'll just tell you, it's people. It's life, right? Is a mountain the most important thing? Is the acrylic the most important thing? No. Pretty much the only thing that is like the center of the universe that matters, that is the most important thing in the entire world, is life, is people. So God has this plan. He's making a world. He wants to make a world with people. And now, how are people going to be raised? How are they going to be taken care of? How are they going to grow? How are they going to pass messages from one generation to the next in order to actually create people who serve God? So he creates family. How is a child going to be taken care of? Who's going to take care of the people? Who's going to take care of the most important thing in the entire universe?
The women.
Yes, the women. So God creates Adam and Chava, puts them in this world, and which of them does he choose to actually take care of the people, to take care of the center of the entire universe? Chava. She's called the mother of all life. All life, not the mother of part of some of the life. Chava, literally, the reason she's called Chava is because she's going to be the one who takes care of the most important thing in God's eyes. She's going to take care of life. She's going to take care of people. And by the way, we could pause for a moment and you guys can try to think to yourselves, Up until now, do we agree? Like, is there something that you, in your mind, feel is more important than people? You could bring it up. This is Uncamp. We can talk about it. Yes? Great. We'll totally talk about that. We'll totally talk about that. And by the way, that fits perfectly into this lesson of like, why does the Torah, men, okay. Why is God referred to as a he? Okay, guys, well, let's leave it as a question for now, please. Can we leave it as a question so we'll get to it at the right time? Okay. So up until now, can anyone scratch your brains to the deepest corners of your minds and think, are you in agreement that the most important thing in the world is people, is life? Like, can you think of something that's more important than life? Absolutely, a good life. The point being that a person, right? A person has a good, like, life. People are the most important. There isn't like, it's not like the elephant is going to be more, the rock's going to be more, the technology is going to be more, like the bridge is going to be, no, like it's all for people. People are the most important. So God puts Adam and Chava into the world and he says, okay, the most important thing that I need you guys to do while you're here is to bring new life into this world and to nurture it and raise it, to raise this new life in the right way and to give the new life a good life, as said, right? So now, what does Adam do? Like, what does God need Adam for? He's got Chava, she's the mother, she's the mother of all life, she's the one who's going to raise the kids, she's going to educate them and really guide them and nurture them. So what does Adam do? So God says, in order for her to be able to focus, to do her job, to take care of the new life, to do the most important thing in the whole universe, I'm creating you to take all kinds of burdens off of her so that she can do what I need her to do. So she's in the home, she's bringing the kids into the world, she's nurturing them, she's protecting them, she's taking care of them, she's raising them. And now, when she has a good Adam at her side, man at her side, he's the one who goes out to the world. He's the one who hunts the deer for them to eat for dinner. He's the one who plants wheat and then gathers it. And brings home resources so that she can focus on taking care of the life, the new life. Now, what happens out there in the world? Out there in the world, there's not just one Adam walking around. There's hundreds, now thousands, now 8 billion, 4 billion, however many, billions of Adams walking around. Out there, resources, they're limited, there are disputes over them. So this whole world gets created outside where the Adams are walking around. And God says, if you guys have disputes, if you guys have troubles out there, if you can't figure out how to get along, okay, so make yourself a judge, make yourself a lawyer. You can't figure out how to divide this land, you can't figure out who this deer goes to. So, and he gives responsibilities that men should govern what happens out there so that the women can be free and unburdened to actually do the most important thing in the universe, which is bring new life into this world and raise it and educate it. Yes? So we're using words like in charge, right? But what the Torah actually says, so several things. Let's answer the money thing first, then the oath thing second, okay? In order for her to do what she needs to do, God gives her a unique set of characteristics and skills. And in order for him to fulfill his responsibility, God gives him a unique set of strengths, skills, and characteristics. And then ultimately laws. One moment. Good question, and one moment. So what happens? What she's going to need, and this is also why now we understand why Adam was created first. Adam was created before Chava for the same reason, or rather, let's say, Chava was created last after Adam for the same reason that man was created last after the entire universe was created. Meaning, the thing that's the point, that's the most important, that's going to be the completion of the picture, that's the dot you make last. You don't move a woman into a house that you didn't put the furniture into yet. I'm making most of it up. No, I'm kidding. The Torah. For real, I promise you. Okay, I have right over here 57 pages of sources that you're free to look at whenever you want. Yes. Okay. So 1 second. So we understand why she's created last, because the world has to be ready for her. And her provider and protector has to be there. God's not going to throw her into the world vulnerable. Yes. It was both of them together. That's true. That's true. The first Adam was, exactly, it was androgynous. It was both of them together, and then they were split. But why was she kind of differentiated? She got her name last. I think that's kind of what we're trying to figure out. Like, why did she come to her identity last? You're absolutely right. Yeah. Okay. So now that explains to us so much about how we view the monetary transactions that take place regarding women in Torah in terms of, and on two levels, okay, on two levels. First of all, when a woman who's living in her father's house, let's say, is raped, think about her lifestyle if she is actually living the idyllic life of being protected by her father and provided for by her father. So if she's living this incredibly protected life where she's able to focus on the home, helping her mom, raising the younger siblings, Correct, meaning you're not going to now be like, well, you were raped, so now we're going to throw you out of your protected environment, go figure out, like go to the, So what does the dad do with money? When you have ideal, the Torah here is discussing, so listen, right? What does a dad do with money? A dad, right? A father. Someone who actually cares about his family. What does he do with money? He's literally, what he does with money is he buys things for his daughter, he buys things for his wife, buys things for his family. So that's one just logical reason right there. And the second logical reason is he just raped her. You're going to force her to interact with him? Like, there you go. Excellent. The dad should. So this is not about her being property. This is actually, the dad should protect her from having to face her rapist again. In fact, he does, by the way. He buys things for her. Or he can give her the money. No problem. Absolutely. That's absolutely all possible. But another part to add to this is there are all kinds of different situations, different circumstances under which rape occur, different relationships between the rapist and the victim. And if she wants to marry him, like if they have, I can't imagine it, but if for whatever reason that happens, he's not allowed to divorce her for the rest of his life, right? For the rest of his life. No, he can't force her. He's not allowed to force her to marry him. If he rapes her, she has the prerogative of whether she wants to be married to him, and what did marriage mean? For most of history, what did marriage mean? That he is your provider and protector. What? No, we're not discussing if they're already married. We're talking about, right? So just to bring this back down, right? And here's another, just an answer to a very confusing, a law that seems confusing in Torah. If a man seduces a woman and he lies with her, then he's obligated to marry her, and he's not allowed to divorce her for his entire life. We look at that and we're like, what? Why? So first of all, put aside the part that if she does not want to marry him, then he has to give her father money, like for her, like to provide for her, etc. But can you guys imagine if we still had that law today? That if a man rapes a woman or if he seduces a woman, then he has to provide for her for the rest of their entire lives. Do you know how many rapists we would have? Imagine if the consequence of rape was, what? Just think about it logically, right? Imagine if the consequence of rape is that if you want to be with a woman and you're so overtaken and you're with her, then congratulations, you now have a wife that you need to take care of for the rest of your entire life. Would that not deter rape a little bit, if not a lot? You don't think so? Okay, could be. I mean, that's open for debate. Yeah, not punishment. The consequence is accountability. You're right. You're right. But there are also, huh? Which rules? The rules of the Torah can only be enforced. Right. So there are certain laws in Torah that can only be enforced when we are autonomous over ourselves, when the Holy Temple is standing, when we rule over our own land. Correct. Certain laws we'll need, certain laws we won't need, yeah, I guess. Huh? Yes, definitely not laws of people murdering each other, raping each other, thank God. There was one more thing, I see your hands, but one second, there was one more thing. There was and then the oaths, okay? Okay, we'll get to that, one thing at a time, go. His entire...
That's his worth, like he's giving up his worth.
Isn't that interesting? Like there's a correlation between those numbers. So I don't know if that's the symbolism behind it, but it's a fascinating correlation that he has to bring his entire... What do you mean, why? Oh, why is a man worth more? Excellent, we're going to get to that. Did you have one question before? Yes? Okay, so several reasons. One being that every time we learn about a law in Torah, it's as if we're fulfilling that mitzvah. So it's even more of like we should be learning more of them, not less of them, because that's the only way we can fulfill these laws right now. Spiritually, what's happening is that when we learn the law, it's like we fulfill that mitzvah. You're saying you don't need to give that check? Yeah. You had a different question, or is that it? Yep. Now, I mean, nowadays we're tied to the law of the land. Yeah. You got to just follow the laws of the land. Yeah. In an ideal world, men would be protecting women from the elements, from starvation, from storms, from bears. That would be the ideal. Yeah. That's a very interesting question. And I like that you asked it. Because I'm sorry, I blinked out. Something came up. You said if they don't have, what is he getting? Thank you. Thank you very much. I love that you asked that question because we are so used to thinking of marriage in terms of what do I get out of it? Whereas the entire Torah, if we read it that way, we're missing everything because the Torah's perspective is, what are your obligations in the marriage? Meaning, and this also will answer the polygamy thing. Like how come a man can marry multiple wives, but a woman could only marry one husband? Marriage in Torah is about obligations. It's for what purpose are you engaging in this relationship? What's your responsibility to each other? If you actually look at the Torah's laws to a man, like he has a lot of obligations in the marriage. He needs to provide for her financially. He also needs to provide for her intimately. He needs to make her happy. Both, like when a holiday comes, buy her pretty things, and also to satisfy her emotionally and also intimately, like when they're together as husband and wife. So that is a good question you ask. And our sages did have to actually write down, what does a guy get out of this? And I'll read it to you if you'd like. It says that Rabbi Tanchum said, that Rabbi Hanilai said, any man who does not have a wife is without joy, without blessing, and without goodness. So women bring joy, blessing, and goodness into the household and to their husbands. Isn't that amazing? And then there are some quotes of the Torah, like it says in Devarim, and you shall rejoice, you and your household. That means you and your wife. Without blessing, as it says in Yechezkel and the prophets, to cause a blessing to rest in your house. And without goodness, as it is written, right at the beginning, God told Adam, it is not good that man should be alone. Okay, yes. We haven't even started, yeah. Good. That's also a very good question that we should write down. Why? Okay. So I actually want to read you guys because whoever says that in Torah, it's not clear and obvious that women are revered, respected to the highest level. Anyone who says that has not read Torah because it's as clear as day in the Torah itself. And specifically, a lot of the places are in the most important stories. So when it came to actually building our nation, Avram and Yitzchak had a conversation. Well, first of all, we spoke about Chava, right? Chava is literally called the mother of all life. So it starts with the first woman. She's already in the Torah clearly expressed as she's going to be the main character here. When it comes to life, when it comes to the most important thing. I think that the reason for that is because our values today are completely flipped, and we make the least important things most important, and we make the most important things least important. And it's like, it's a crusade. We fight against the most important things, we make fun of, we degrade the most important things in our current society, in our current culture, you know? Maybe it's getting better, and then we put the value on the things that are, So I think you'll find that the more a guy actually keeps Torah, the more he honors, respects, and reveres his wife. Actually keeps Torah. Of course there are some and some. But you'll find that the more a man keeps Torah, the more it refines him and the more it actually gives him an appreciation for, And I mean, I don't know, I only know some men, like I know the men in my family and I know a bunch of Chabad rabbis whose houses I visited. It's incredible. Those households are incredible. Like on top of all their other responsibilities and providing and protecting, like they're also helping their wives at home and rolling up their sleeves and washing dishes and holding crying babies and like, and honoring their Rebbitzin and like giving her, I'm saying like, you know, so yeah. Okay, so what about the oath thing? Good. So in order for, to 8:30? Okay. So what about the oath? Because that was the other thing, that is she like property, right? How could he control her behavior with oaths? And it's going to fall under the same thing of provider and protector. Remember, God creates Chava, God creates Adam, and now in order for her to do her job and him to do his job, they have to have a specific set of character traits and skills. The woman, she's in charge of raising the children. She is closest to life. And so God actually needs her to have an intuitive connection with holiness so that she can transmit it to her family. And by the way, one of my pet peeves is when people say that women are higher than men. Can I just tell you the way that we're more in tune with godliness. That's not higher or lower. God created men and God created women. That means that each one is equally perfect in the way that they need to be. What is the advantage that men have? A lot of physical and spiritual advantages. The spiritual advantage, women have many spiritual and physical advantages. Like one of our biggest advantages, we can actually create new life. Whoa. Like, I don't know how men can even handle that. They don't have that ability. I don't even know why we compete with them. Like, why is it a competition? Like, we can literally bring new life to the world. But women are more naturally in tune to godliness. So men have to work on bringing their connection with godliness to mind, to their consciousness. It's about consciousness. We're more naturally in tune, like it's more in our consciousness, not just in the subconscious, the connection with God and seeing God places. It's all about creating new life. And by the way, what I do hope is that by the end of our conversations of this, you also have tremendous consideration for, care, and respect for the men in your life, for all the things that they, like the roles that they play, without trying to steal from them the last little roles that they have, because you're like, oh, it looks cooler to be a rabbi, so let me take that. You know, they're trying to take that burden off of us of like running things in the public domain. And then we're like, no, we want to run everything. We want to bring new life, and we also want to run the shul. Like, no, don't worry. We'll get to that different time. Sorry. We ran and, okay. There is. You have free choice. You can do whatever you want. So let's go back to the oaths thing, and then I should not have opened up that can of worms right now. We don't have time for it this second, but we will get there in a thorough, satisfying manner, God willing.
I'm not going to answer
Okay.
questions though.
We will. We'll do it an hour every day until we get through every single one of them. Okay. So the oaths, okay? So what happens? So God needs to give them a different set of characteristics. So for a woman, she's more naturally in tune with godliness, more spiritual. For a man, he feels the physical or the self. So what happens? In Torah, there are plenty of reminders that are given to men to guide them in their work of being out there in the world, facing the demons, facing the culture. For example, put on the tzitzit, put on the prayer shawl, the fringed garment, four-cornered fringed garment, to remind you of the mitzvahs, right? They need armor. They're out there, and they don't have the same intuitive consciousness of godliness. So now, one of the ways that a guy guards himself from becoming too absorbed in materialism is by making oaths. If a guy finds that he's struggling, and this is a little bit like when a person has an addiction of any kind. When a person has an addiction, hopefully they get the support that they need, and they support each other to abstain from whatever their addiction is. If a guy gets too caught up in materialism, God says, okay, I have a temporary measure that you can put into place. You could make an oath, cutting yourself off from whatever the vice is, okay? So what happens? You can make an oath. Any person's allowed to make an oath that they will abstain from certain things, right? So what happens? If a woman says, I want to be closer to godliness, to God, I want to be holier, I want to abstain from XYZ, her father or her, and this is amazing because actually brought this up the first second we brought up this rule, her father or her husband can actually protect her from her own self. And I could tell you a real story that happened, and I'm sure many people have experienced similar stories, hopefully, if you have attentive fathers and husbands. He can actually say, honey, you don't have to do that. You're already holy enough. You take care of our kids. You're perfect, exactly the way you are. You don't need to separate yourself from this material thing that you think you need to separate yourself from. And by the way, as with any healthy relationship, it could be a conversation. Now, what happens if he actually discussed it with her and she says, oh my gosh, I totally agree with you, but what should I do now? I already made the oath. So God actually gives him the ability to annul her oath. Yes, and it's part of her. You pay attention. Pay attention, right? Men, the reason God gives us the choice to make oaths is to separate ourselves from the material, and that is a safeguard that many men need. Women who are more spiritually in tune look at this and say, hey, if there's a mitzvah in the Torah, I want to do that too. And her protector can come and say, you know what, you actually don't have to. They have that conversation, and she realizes that she does not want, and by the way, also, in the same Torah that tells us that he can annul it, also says that if he's silent, then her oath stands. So, if she decides, no, I want to keep this oath, and he says, okay, then, because they're in a good relationship, we're talking about here, then the oath stands. So this is just another expression of him being a provider and protector. Actually, a child's oath does not count to begin with. So once a son becomes a man, he needs to begin making oaths to separate himself from material addictions. He doesn't need protection from making an oath. So actually think about this in your own life, okay? I want to tell you a story that actually happened to me shortly after high school. And it's not like a crazy story. It's just something that can happen to anyone here. This woman was basically asking me to raise money for charity, for tzedakah. She came with a terrible story. There's this bride who didn't have money, her wedding is tomorrow and something fell through. Can you pay, can you raise money for this? And I got together with I collected money basically from my friends, $2,000, and I gave her what she said she needed for this bride. A couple of weeks later, she came back and she told me that this family is being evicted from their home, and she needs, if I could raise $6,000 to get this family to stay in their home. I was very stressed out about this because on the one hand, I felt how could you let someone be evicted from their home? On the other hand, how can I turn to all my friends and ask them for money It was like, what is happening here? And my dad overheard me talking about this. And he said, Itty, I forbid you from getting involved in this. This is not your issue. Like, there are organizations that take care of this. This adult woman should not be coming to you and making this your thing. It was the biggest relief ever. Because as women, we want to help the whole world. We want to fix things. We want to do the right thing. And it's when you have like a healthy dynamic in the home, it's an amazing thing to have that burden relieved from your shoulders. Why does it work one way and not the other? God is the one who made me. He created us. He knows our nature. He knows what's needed. He knows who needs protection from what. So for the more in tune we get with God, the more we actually appreciate these rather than feeling dishonored by them. But that is the beginning of the conversation. We haven't even began. I think we need to, next time, I think we need to start with a whole bunch of incidences in Torah where you actually see that Torah literally, like all this stuff, Torah actually says it outright. The one, by the way, when it comes to the first Jew, Yitzchak, Avram and Sarah are having, we'll revisit it at depth next time, but Avram and Sarah are having a conversation about Yitzchak. And Avram says, hey, this is what I think should happen in our household. Sarah says the opposite. This is the opposite thing that should happen in the household. What did God say? God literally speaks up in the verse. What did he say? And this is Abraham, the first Jew, right? What does God say? Whatever she says, you have to listen to her voice. Oh, men know this. Men who study Torah know this. So that is, that's the beginning. We really, if we want to, we got to make a shift to actually remember what's up and what's down. And let's continue with the rest of these questions, God willing, tomorrow. Anyone want to continue tomorrow? Yes? Okay.
We gotta